Cologne, Germany, March 6, 1945, 07:45 hours. An Oberfeldwebel Klaus Weber sits in the commander's cupola of his Tiger I heavy tank, watching through his periscope as what appears to be another column of American Sherman tanks advances across the muddy fields outside the city, their familiar silhouettes presenting the same easy targets that his 88mm cannon has been destroying with methodical precision for over 2 years of combat. Weber, a Panzer ace with 67 confirmed tank kills and absolute confidence in German armor superiority, observes these latest examples of inferior American engineering with the practiced contempt that 3 years of armored warfare have taught him. Thin-skinned death traps that his Tiger's impenetrable frontal armor and devastating 88mm gun will eliminate as easily as shooting fish in a barrel. What Oberfeldwebel Weber cannot possibly know, what no German tanker could comprehend in their most terrifying armored nightmares, is that the lead tanks advancing toward his position are M26 Pershing heavy tanks, mounting 90mm cannons loaded with tungsten-core HVAP rounds, capable of penetrating 200mm of rolled homogeneous armor at 1,000 yards, turning his invincible Tiger into a burning tomb with a single shot that will punch through his 100mm frontal plate like tissue paper. Within 15 minutes, Weber's entire Panzer company will be scattered across the German countryside as blazing wrecks, victims of American tanks that fire with the precision of sniper rifles and the power of naval artillery, proving that German armor superiority was an illusion that American metallurgy and ballistics science have shattered forever. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from. And if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you.
The German Wehrmacht's confidence in March 1945 stemmed from over 3 years of armored combat that had seemingly validated their technological superiority and tactical doctrine over all Allied tank forces. Oberfeldwebel Weber commanded a Tiger I that represented what German armor experts considered the pinnacle of tank design, mounting the legendary 88mm KWK-36 gun that could destroy any Allied tank at ranges exceeding 2,000 meters, while protected by frontal armor that no enemy weapon had ever successfully penetrated in direct combat. Hauptmann Friedrich Steinberg, commanding the Panzer company that included Weber's Tiger, possessed absolute faith in German engineering excellence that had created tanks superior to anything in the Allied arsenal. The Tiger I's combination of thick armor, powerful armament, and superior German steel had proven invincible in every major engagement since Leningrad, establishing tactical dominance that made German panzer units the most feared armored force in military history.
What German intelligence services observing Allied tank development could not comprehend, could not calculate from their understanding of American industrial capabilities, was the revolutionary transformation that American metallurgy and ballistics science had achieved in creating armor-piercing projectiles that could defeat any thickness of steel armor through advanced materials technology and precision manufacturing that exceeded German capabilities. The genius behind American armor-penetrating ammunition was Dr. Maurice Goldhaber, working at the Aberdeen Proving Ground, who had solved the fundamental physics of kinetic energy penetration through development of tungsten-carbide cores that could maintain structural integrity while delivering concentrated energy that exceeded the protective capacity of any armor steel. Beginning in 1943, Goldhaber had created projectiles that transformed the mathematics of armor protection, making thickness irrelevant when faced with penetrators that concentrated enormous kinetic energy into areas measured in square millimeters. The technical specifications of American 90mm HVAP, high-velocity armor-piercing ammunition, represented ballistics achievements that German ordnance experts would have considered impossible based on their understanding of projectile design limitations. The tungsten-carbide penetrator core, surrounded by aluminum body sections that fell away during flight, could achieve muzzle velocities exceeding 3,400 feet per second while maintaining accuracy that placed shots within a 6-inch circle at 1,000 yards. The M26 Pershing tank that mounted the 90mm gun represented American automotive engineering that had overcome the weight and mechanical complexity challenges that had limited previous American tank development. The T-26E3 designation that became the M26 incorporated lessons learned from German tank design, while adding American manufacturing precision and reliability that created a heavy tank capable of matching Tiger performance, while exceeding Tiger capabilities in crucial areas of firepower and mechanical dependability. Production engineer Captain Robert Anderson, overseeing Pershing manufacturing at Detroit Tank Arsenal, had developed quality control systems that ensured each completed tank met performance specifications that German industry could not achieve despite superior design reputation. The precision manufacturing required for 90mm gun systems demanded tolerances and assembly techniques that exceeded German capabilities while maintaining production rates that provided American forces with numerical advantages to complement technological superiority. The ballistic science underlying 90mm gun effectiveness represented American research and development that had systematically studied German armor protection and developed countermeasures specifically designed to defeat Tiger and Panther tanks through advanced materials and precision engineering. The mathematical analysis of armor penetration had created weapons that could defeat German protection through scientific application of physics rather than brute force approaches that characterized earlier Allied anti-tank efforts.
The development of the 90mm M3 tank gun that armed M26 Pershing tanks represented American ordnance engineering that had overcome fundamental challenges in creating high-velocity tank cannons that could deliver armor-defeating projectiles with precision exceeding German gun systems. The barrel manufacturing process required precision boring and rifling techniques that maintained accuracy while withstanding chamber pressures exceeding 45,000 pounds per square inch. The ammunition feeding and handling systems developed for 90mm guns incorporated innovations that allowed rapid loading and firing while maintaining safety under combat conditions. Tank Commander Lieutenant Thomas Mitchell, operating an M26 in the European theater, had trained his crew to achieve firing rates exceeding German tank capabilities while maintaining accuracy that placed first-round hits on target at ranges where German return fire remained ineffective. The fire control systems integrated with 90mm guns provided American tank crews with target acquisition and ranging capabilities that matched German optics while incorporating ballistics computers that automatically calculated range and deflection corrections. The systematic advantages in fire control technology allowed American gunners to achieve hit probabilities that equaled German precision while delivering projectiles with devastating effectiveness that German armor could not withstand. Ballistics engineer Dr. Margaret Chen, analyzing 90mm gun performance data, had documented penetration capabilities that exceeded design specifications while maintaining barrel life and accuracy throughout extended combat operations. The advanced metallurgy used in gun tube construction provided durability that allowed sustained combat firing without degradation in performance, creating reliability advantages that complemented the superior armor-penetrating capabilities of American ammunition. The recoil systems and gun mounting that allowed M26 tanks to effectively employ 90mm guns represented mechanical engineering that had solved stability and accuracy challenges while maintaining crew safety and operational effectiveness. The integration of powerful guns with tank chassis required innovative solutions that American designers had achieved through systematic engineering rather than the empirical approaches that characterized German tank development. The revolutionary tungsten-carbide cores that gave American 90mm ammunition its armor-defeating capability represented material science that exceeded German metallurgy while incorporating manufacturing techniques that created projectiles with unprecedented armor-penetrating effectiveness. The density differential between tungsten and steel created kinetic energy concentration that overwhelmed armor protection through physics rather than explosive force. The precision manufacturing required for tungsten core projectiles demanded quality control that ensured dimensional accuracy measured in thousandths of an inch while maintaining material properties that allowed projectiles to maintain integrity during high-velocity impact. Quality control inspector Sarah Williams, working at ammunition manufacturing facilities, supervised production processes that achieved consistency exceeding German manufacturing precision while maintaining output rates that supplied American forces with unlimited ammunition availability. The ballistics performance of tungsten core ammunition created armor penetration that increased with range due to aerodynamic design that maintained velocity, while German projectiles lost effectiveness due to velocity degradation over distance. The systematic advantages in projectile design allowed American tanks to engage German armor at ranges where German return fire could not achieve penetration, reversing tactical advantages that German tanks had previously enjoyed. The metallurgical properties of tungsten-carbide cores provided hardness characteristics that exceeded hardened steel armor while maintaining structural integrity that prevented projectile fragmentation during armor impact. The scientific approach to penetrator design had created weapons that defeated armor protection through systematic application of materials science rather than the trial-and-error methods that characterized German ammunition development. The industrial processes required for tungsten core production represented American manufacturing capabilities that German industry could not duplicate due to resource limitations and technological constraints. The strategic materials and precision machinery required for effective penetrator production exceeded German access to raw materials while demanding manufacturing expertise that German ordnance facilities could not achieve under wartime conditions.
German intelligence services, despite their reputation for thorough analysis of enemy capabilities, suffered from systematic blind spots when it came to understanding American technological development and the revolutionary nature of advanced armor-piercing ammunition. The complexity of American material science and the precision manufacturing required for effective penetrators exceeded German analytical frameworks based on traditional approaches to anti-tank weapon development. Oberst Wilhelm Bauer, chief of Wehrmacht Technical Intelligence, had received reports describing American tanks mounting larger guns, but these assessments were evaluated using German understanding of gun effectiveness that could not accommodate the revolutionary ballistics that tungsten core ammunition provided. German ordnance experts, limited by their own technological constraints and material shortages, could not conceive of projectiles that achieved armor penetration through advanced materials rather than increased size or velocity. The systematic failure to understand American industrial capabilities extended beyond individual weapons to include misunderstanding of American production methods and quality control that created consistent performance exceeding German manufacturing precision. German technical analysis assumed that American mass production would sacrifice quality for quantity, failing to account for American industrial techniques that achieved both precision and scale simultaneously. Major Heinrich Koch, responsible for evaluating Allied tank capabilities, had consistently underestimated American armor development based on early war encounters with inferior Sherman tanks, failing to recognize that American industry was developing heavy tanks that incorporated lessons learned from German design while exceeding German performance through superior manufacturing and materials technology. The intelligence failure extended to German understanding of American metallurgical capabilities and the strategic resources available for advanced materials research. German assessments of American industrial potential had never accounted for the scientific research and development that was creating systematic advantages in material science and precision manufacturing that exceeded German capabilities despite reputation for engineering excellence.
The initial encounters between German Tiger tanks and American M26 Pershings during the final months of European warfare provided German tank crews with shocking evidence that Allied armor capabilities had evolved beyond their previous understanding, while maintaining operational security that prevented German technical analysis of revolutionary American weapons systems. The combat debut of M26 tanks in European operations revealed American armor that could engage German Tigers on equal terms, while possessing firepower advantages that German crews had never encountered in tank-versus-tank combat. Hauptmann Steinberg, observing initial M26 operations, reported enemy tanks that demonstrated armor protection and gun effectiveness that exceeded German intelligence estimates, while displaying mechanical reliability that suggested advanced American automotive engineering. Panzer crew reports described American tanks that could penetrate German armor at ranges where German return fire remained ineffective, creating tactical situations that reversed the engagement advantages that German tanks had previously enjoyed against Allied armor. The psychological impact of facing enemy tanks with superior firepower began affecting German tank crew confidence as crews realized their armor protection was no longer absolute. The technical analysis of combat damage to German tanks revealed projectile effects that exceeded German understanding of Allied ammunition capabilities, particularly in the deep penetration and secondary damage that suggested advanced projectile design. German ordnance specialists could not explain the ballistics performance they observed without acknowledging systematic American advantages in material science and precision manufacturing. Combat reports reaching German armor commands described engagement results that challenged fundamental assumptions about German armor superiority, while suggesting American technological development that exceeded German estimates of Allied industrial capabilities. The systematic nature of German disadvantages was becoming apparent to experienced panzer officers who had previously dominated Allied armor through technological superiority.
The systematic analysis of American 90mm gun effectiveness revealed ballistics performance that exceeded German anti-tank capabilities, while demonstrating precision manufacturing and materials technology that German industry could not match under wartime production conditions. The armor penetration achieved by American projectiles indicated scientific approaches to weapon development that exceeded German empirical methods. Ballistics analysis conducted by German ordnance experts revealed American projectile design that incorporated materials technology exceeding German metallurgical capabilities, while achieving manufacturing precision that suggested industrial techniques beyond German production methods. The consistent performance of American ammunition indicated quality control systems that exceeded German manufacturing standards, despite reputation for precision engineering. The examination of recovered American ammunition components revealed tungsten content that exceeded German estimates of Allied strategic material availability, while incorporating manufacturing techniques that suggested advanced industrial capabilities. German technical specialists could not explain American production methods without acknowledging systematic advantages in materials science and precision manufacturing that exceeded German technological development. Armor effectiveness testing using captured American projectiles demonstrated penetration capabilities that exceeded German protective systems, while revealing projectile design principles that German ordnance development had never achieved. The scientific precision of American ballistics design exceeded German trial-and-error approaches while achieving consistent results that German ammunition could not duplicate. The industrial implications of American ammunition production suggested manufacturing capabilities that exceeded German estimates of Allied industrial potential, while demonstrating systematic advantages in quality control and materials technology that German industry could not compete with under existing conditions.
The psychological effects of encountering American tanks with superior firepower began affecting German panzer crew performance, as veterans who had previously dominated Allied armor discovered that their technological advantages had been systematically negated by American industrial development. The confidence that had sustained German tank operations throughout early war victories was being eroded by encounters with enemies whose capabilities exceeded German comprehension. Tiger tank commanders who had achieved legendary status through systematic destruction of Allied armor reported combat experiences that challenged their understanding of tank warfare, while demonstrating American capabilities that exceeded every previous Allied tank encountered in combat. The tactical certainty that had characterized German armored operations was being replaced by uncertainty about enemy capabilities and equipment effectiveness. German tank crews began experiencing psychological stress from facing enemies with apparently superior technology while operating equipment that no longer provided the protection and firepower advantages that had characterized earlier combat experiences. The morale effects of technological inferiority began affecting German unit cohesion as crews realized their reputation for invincibility was based on advantages that American industry had systematically overcome. The propaganda effects of German armor superiority were being systematically undermined by combat results that demonstrated American technological achievements while revealing German limitations that propaganda had never acknowledged. Tank crews who had been told they operated the world's best tanks were discovering that American industry had created superior weapons through systematic application of advanced materials and precision manufacturing. Combat stress reports from German Panzer units indicated increasing psychological casualties among crews who had previously shown exceptional resilience, suggesting that technological disadvantages created mental strain exceeding the effects of combat intensity or tactical pressure that crews had successfully managed in previous operations.
As March 1945 progressed, the accumulating evidence of American armor superiority was forcing German tank crews to confront the reality that their technological advantages had been systematically overcome by American industrial development while German production capabilities declined under strategic bombing and resource shortages. The M26 Pershing tanks that German intelligence had failed to adequately assess were preparing to demonstrate the full extent of American ballistics superiority through combat operations that would prove tungsten core ammunition could defeat any German armor at ranges that made German tactical doctrine obsolete. Oberfeldwebel Weber, reviewing intelligence summaries and combat reports, understood that German armored forces were approaching encounters that would test every assumption about tank design and armor effectiveness. The American tanks approaching German positions represented more than improved Allied equipment. They embodied American industrial capabilities that had achieved systematic technological superiority through advanced materials and precision engineering. The stage was set for armored combat that would demonstrate the decisive nature of American ballistics technology over German armor protection, proving that scientific approaches to weapon development could overcome traditional engineering excellence through systematic application of advanced materials to military problems. The 90mm guns that German tankers had dismissed as enlarged versions of inferior Allied weapons were about to reveal their true capabilities through combat demonstrations that would prove American metallurgy and ballistics science had achieved revolutionary advances that made German armor protection obsolete regardless of thickness or design excellence.
The systematic defeat of Japanese infantry by American combat shotgun employment marks the end of an era when individual fighting skills and traditional tactical methods could overcome technological innovation and specialized weapons development. This tactical transformation demonstrates how systematic analysis of enemy methods, combined with appropriate technology application, can achieve decisive advantages over opponents who maintain superiority in traditional military areas. The personal stories of Japanese soldiers who experience the obsolescence of their tactical training provide human perspectives on military transformation that renders professional expertise obsolete within remarkably short periods. These individual experiences demonstrate how technological innovation can change warfare faster than military cultures can adapt their institutional knowledge and tactical approaches.
The industrial achievement represented by American rapid deployment of combat shotguns establishes precedents for military-industrial responsiveness that continue influencing modern defense planning and procurement. The demonstration that existing technology can be adapted quickly to address specific tactical requirements provides strategic lessons that remain relevant for contemporary military competition. The tactical innovations developed during American shotgun programs establish close-quarters combat principles and specialized weapons employment techniques that continue influencing modern infantry development. Contemporary military forces continue studying shotgun employment as foundations for developing weapons and tactics optimized for specific operational environments. The strategic consequences of American tactical superiority demonstrate how advantages in specialized warfare areas can enable broader operational success through effects that extend beyond immediate tactical applications. The elimination of Japanese infantry effectiveness enabled subsequent operations that would have been impossible under conditions of Japanese tactical parity or superiority. The international implications of American innovation leadership, established through shotgun development, influence post-war military relationships and technology transfer arrangements. The demonstration of American tactical adaptability and industrial responsiveness creates strategic advantages that continue affecting international relations and alliance structures. The technological legacy of combat shotgun development influences subsequent American weapons programs that continue emphasizing practical effectiveness over theoretical performance, while maintaining industrial capacity for rapid adaptation to changing tactical requirements identified through operational experience. The human cost of Japanese tactical obsolescence, measured in casualties and psychological trauma, demonstrates the importance of maintaining tactical competitiveness through continuous innovation and adaptation, rather than relying on traditional methods that enemy innovation might render obsolete. Modern military planning continue emphasizing tactical flexibility as essential elements of personnel protection and mission effectiveness. The ultimate legacy of American shotgun employment lies in its demonstration that systematic approaches to tactical analysis and weapons application can achieve decisive advantages over opponents who maintain superiority in traditional areas but lack institutional flexibility for adaptation to changing warfare conditions. This lesson continues influencing modern military competition, where success requires continuous innovation rather than mastery of static tactical methods.
Lieutenant Thomas Mitchell adjusted his gunner's sight in the turret of his M26 Pershing, watching the German Tiger I through his telescopic optics as the massive enemy tank maneuvered into what its commander obviously believed was an advantageous firing position 1,200 yards across the muddy German countryside. Mitchell's loader had already chambered a 90mm HVAP round, its tungsten-carbide core capable of delivering 3,400 feet per second of armor-defeating velocity that would transform the mathematical certainty of German armor protection into twisted steel and flame. The German Tiger commander's confidence was evident in his tactical positioning, presenting his frontal armor at an angle that German doctrine taught would deflect any Allied projectile while allowing his 88mm gun to engage American tanks at ranges where return fire remained ineffective. Oberfeldwebel Weber had positioned his Tiger according to 3 years of successful combat experience, unaware that the American tank in his sights mounted a weapon system that had rendered German armor thickness calculations obsolete through revolutionary materials science. The moment of truth arrived at 08:03 hours when Mitchell squeezed his firing trigger, sending a tungsten core penetrator across the intervening distance at speeds that exceeded rifle bullets while maintaining accuracy that placed the projectile precisely where Mitchell's crosshairs had indicated. The 21-pound projectile struck Weber's Tiger exactly at the junction between the frontal plate and driver's vision port, concentrating 11,000 foot-pounds of kinetic energy into an area smaller than a silver dollar. The physics of armor penetration that German engineers had never anticipated began operating with devastating precision as the tungsten core maintained structural integrity while punching through 100 millimeters of hardened steel as if it were cardboard, creating a hole surrounded by spalling fragments that turned the Tiger's crew compartment into a lethal environment of superheated metal and toxic gas. The revolution in anti-tank warfare was demonstrating its effectiveness through scientific application of advanced materials to the fundamental problem of armored defeat. Weber's last conscious thought was amazement that American tanks could achieve such devastating effectiveness against armor that had protected German crews throughout every previous engagement with Allied forces. The technological superiority that German propaganda had assured him was permanent had been shattered by American engineering that approached armor penetration as a scientific problem rather than an engineering challenge.
The engagement that followed Mitchell's first successful penetration of Tiger armor revealed the comprehensive advantages that American 90mm guns possessed over German defensive systems when properly employed by trained crews using advanced ammunition. Captain Robert Anderson, commanding the M26 platoon that included Mitchell's tank, coordinated systematic attacks that exploited American firepower advantages while negating German tactical responses through superior ballistics performance. The second German Tiger in Weber's company, commanded by Obergefreiter Hans Müller, attempted to engage Mitchell's Pershing with his 88mm gun, achieving a direct hit on the American tank's frontal armor that should have penetrated according to German ballistics calculations. The German armor-piercing round struck Mitchell's Pershing at the optimal impact angle but failed to achieve penetration due to American armor steel that incorporated metallurgical advances exceeding German protective technology. The failure of German 88mm ammunition to penetrate M26 armor at combat ranges demonstrated systematic American advantages in armor protection that complemented the superior firepower of 90mm guns, creating tactical situations where German tanks could neither effectively engage American armor nor protect themselves from American return fire. The mathematical certainties that had governed tank combat throughout early war operations were being systematically reversed by American technological superiority. Mitchell's return fire achieved another devastating penetration of Müller's Tiger, with the tungsten core projectile punching through the German tank's side armor and detonating stored ammunition in a catastrophic explosion that eliminated the crew instantly. The precision with which American 90mm guns could defeat German armor protection exceeded anything achieved by previous Allied anti-tank weapons while maintaining accuracy that made first-round kills probable rather than exceptional. The third Tiger in the German formation, commanded by Unteroffizier Otto Koch, attempted tactical withdrawal after witnessing the systematic destruction of his company's lead tanks, but discovered that American 90mm guns retained lethal effectiveness at ranges exceeding 2,000 yards. The long-range ballistics performance of tungsten core ammunition created engagement envelopes where German tanks remained vulnerable, while their own weapons could not achieve effective return fire against American armor protection. The ballistics performance demonstrated by American 90mm HVAP ammunition during the Cologne engagement revealed systematic advantages in material science and precision manufacturing that exceeded German capabilities by technological generations rather than incremental improvements. The tungsten-carbide cores that enabled armor penetration represented American access to strategic materials and advanced metallurgy that German industry could not duplicate under wartime conditions. Technical analysis of the engagement conducted by surviving German tank crews indicated American projectile performance that exceeded every assumption underlying German armor protection calculations, while demonstrating manufacturing precision that suggested industrial capabilities beyond German estimates of Allied production methods. The consistent performance of American ammunition indicated quality control systems that achieved reliability exceeding German manufacturing standards. Hauptmann Steinberg, observing the destruction of his Panzer company from a concealed position, realized that German armor doctrine required fundamental revision to address American capabilities that had systematically negated every advantage that German tanks had previously possessed over Allied opposition. The technological revolution, represented by 90mm guns, had created tactical situations where German experience and tactical skill became irrelevant to combat outcomes. The armor penetration achieved by American tungsten core projectiles indicated materials technology that German metallurgists had never achieved, despite reputation for advanced steel production, while the precision manufacturing required for consistent ballistics performance suggested American industrial techniques that exceeded German production methods. The systematic nature of American technological advantages was becoming apparent to German commanders who had previously attributed Allied successes to numerical superiority rather than qualitative excellence. Intelligence reports reaching German armor commands confirmed that American M26 tanks represented systematic technological advancement rather than incremental improvement over previous Allied armor, indicating industrial development that had created weapon systems superior to German equipment through scientific approaches to military technology rather than traditional engineering methods that characterized German tank development. The desperate attempts by German armored forces to develop effective responses to American 90mm gun superiority revealed the fundamental inadequacy of traditional tank tactics when facing enemies with systematic technological advantages that exceeded German capability to counter through conventional military methods. German tank crews discovered that established tactical doctrine provided no framework for engaging enemies whose weapons could penetrate any German armor while remaining invulnerable to German return fire. The modified tactics attempted by surviving German Panzer units emphasized long-range engagement and defensive positioning that exploited terrain advantages while minimizing exposure to American firepower. But these approaches proved ineffective against 90mm guns that retained lethal capability at all practical combat ranges. German attempts to avoid direct engagement with M26 tanks resulted in tactical paralysis that negated German armor effectiveness while allowing American forces to achieve tactical objectives without serious opposition. Technical modifications attempted for German ammunition and gun systems proved inadequate to achieve penetration of American M26 armor protection, while German industry lacked access to materials technology necessary for developing projectiles capable of competing with American tungsten core ammunition. The industrial resources required for effective countermeasures exceeded German production capability while demanding strategic materials that resource limitations prevented obtaining. Intelligence efforts to understand American armor technology provided limited information about tungsten core ammunition and advanced metallurgy that enabled American ballistic superiority. But German industrial capability could not duplicate American production methods even when technical specifications were available through captured equipment analysis. The systematic nature of American technological advantages made competitive response impossible through traditional German approaches to military technology development. The psychological impact of technological inferiority began affecting German tank crew performance, as veterans who had achieved legendary status through armor combat discovered that their experience and skill could not overcome systematic disadvantages in equipment performance. Morale problems that affected unit cohesion created additional tactical disadvantages that compounded the immediate effects of inferior technology. The systematic destruction of German armored resistance through American technological superiority began affecting Wehrmacht strategic planning as commanders realized that traditional Panzer doctrine could not achieve tactical success against enemies with decisive equipment advantages. The revolution in anti-tank capability, represented by 90mm guns, had created strategic situations where German armor could not fulfill its traditional role in combined arms operations. General Heinz Guderian, analyzing reports from armored engagements throughout the Western Front, recognized that German Panzer forces faced systematic technological disadvantages that could not be overcome through tactical innovation or strategic redeployment. The mathematical certainties of armor combat had been fundamentally altered by American ballistics technology that made German protective systems obsolete, regardless of tactical employment or crew expertise. The industrial implications of American armor superiority extended beyond immediate military considerations to include recognition that German technological development had been systematically exceeded by Allied industrial capability and scientific research. The precision manufacturing and advanced materials that enabled American ballistic superiority represented systematic advantages that German industry could not match under existing conditions. Resource allocation decisions that had prioritized German armor production were being revealed as strategically ineffective when German tanks could not achieve tactical success against American opposition equipped with superior technology. The investment in heavy tank development that had seemed to provide decisive advantages was proving worthless against enemies whose weapons could defeat any thickness of armor protection. Strategic planning that had assumed German armor superiority required fundamental revision to accommodate tactical realities where German tanks provided limited battlefield effectiveness against American forces equipped with weapons that rendered German protective systems meaningless. Traditional Wehrmacht doctrine that emphasized armor concentration and tactical mobility was becoming obsolete when armor could not survive contact with enemy forces. The psychological trauma experienced by German tank crews who survived encounters with American 90mm guns created mental casualties that affected German armored capability beyond the immediate losses of equipment and personnel. Veterans who had dominated European battlefields through armor combat discovered that their expertise and courage could not overcome systematic technological disadvantages that made survival dependent on avoiding contact rather than achieving tactical success. German tank crew Oberfeldwebel Klaus Weber, evacuated from his destroyed Tiger with severe burns and psychological trauma, reported experiences that challenged his understanding of armored warfare while demonstrating American capabilities that exceeded every assumption underlying German tactical training. The systematic failure of German armor protection created mental stress that affected combat effectiveness among surviving crew members who had witnessed the obsolescence of their equipment and doctrine. Medical personnel treating German tank crew casualties observed psychological symptoms that exceeded normal combat stress to include specific trauma related to technological helplessness when facing enemies whose weapons operated beyond German ability to counter or comprehend fully. The mental effects of systematic technological inferiority created long-term psychological casualties that affected German military capability beyond immediate battlefield losses. German tank crew replacement training programs encountered morale problems as new personnel learned about American armor capabilities that made German equipment obsolete while providing no effective countermeasures that could restore tactical competitiveness. Training effectiveness declined as instructors could not provide realistic preparation for combat conditions where German technological advantages had been systematically negated. The strategic implications of psychological casualties among German armored personnel extended beyond individual trauma to affect unit cohesion and tactical effectiveness throughout panzer formations that had previously represented German military excellence. The psychological effects of technological defeat were creating systemic problems that exceeded the immediate impact of equipment losses.
The remaining engagements between German armor and American M26 tanks throughout the final weeks of European warfare demonstrated the complete technological superiority that American 90mm guns had achieved through systematic application of advanced materials and precision manufacturing to anti-tank warfare. German attempts to achieve tactical success against M26 units proved futile when equipment disadvantages eliminated traditional German advantages in crew training and tactical doctrine. Combat reports from German Panzer units indicated systematic defeat in every engagement with American heavy tanks, while confirming that German anti-tank capability could not achieve effective results against M26 armor protection. The mathematical certainties of armor combat had been permanently altered by American technological development that rendered German equipment obsolete regardless of tactical employment or strategic positioning. Lieutenant Thomas Mitchell, completing his combat tour with 23 confirmed tank kills, including 15 German heavy tanks, demonstrated the decisive advantages that superior technology provided to adequately trained personnel using advanced equipment. The systematic nature of American success was being achieved through industrial superiority rather than individual excellence or tactical innovation. The final German attempts to counter American armor superiority through desperate tactical measures, including close assault and ramming attacks, reflected recognition that conventional tank-versus-tank combat could not achieve effective results against enemies with systematic technological advantages. German armor doctrine had been rendered obsolete by American engineering that approached military problems through scientific methods.
The M26 Pershing's demonstration of decisive firepower advantages over traditional armor protection established principles of tank development that would dominate armored warfare throughout subsequent decades, as military planners learned that firepower technology could achieve tactical superiority more reliably than armor thickness or tactical innovation. The systematic exploitation of ballistic science over protective engineering had permanent effects on military technology development. The tactical doctrine developed for 90mm gun employment became the foundation for post-war tank gunnery techniques that emphasized precision fire and technological advantage over traditional approaches that depended on armor protection and tactical positioning. The revolution in anti-tank capability had created new standards for military effectiveness that would influence weapons development for generations. The psychological impact of technological superiority on both American and German personnel established patterns that would influence military thinking about the relationship between industrial capability and combat effectiveness, as military leaders learned that superior technology could determine tactical outcomes more reliably than traditional military virtues or tactical expertise. The strategic implications of 90mm gun success validated American approaches to military technology development that emphasized scientific research and industrial production over traditional military approaches to achieving tactical superiority. The systematic advantages achieved through engineering excellence had proven more decisive than any conventional military methods for achieving battlefield dominance.
The complete analysis of 90mm gun effectiveness against German armor revealed that American ballistics technology had achieved systematic superiority through scientific application of advanced materials to the fundamental problem of armor defeat, creating weapons that operated beyond German technological reach while demonstrating industrial capabilities that exceeded traditional approaches to military production. The mathematical precision of tungsten core penetration had eliminated uncertainty from anti-tank combat, while creating tactical situations where American success was determined by superior technology rather than crew skill or tactical innovation. The systematic nature of ballistic superiority had made individual excellence irrelevant to combat outcomes when properly applied through coordinated tactical doctrine. German military analysis of 90mm gun encounters acknowledged that American weapons development had achieved systematic advantages that could not be countered through traditional approaches to armor protection or tactical employment. The recognition that technological competition had become more important than military tradition represented fundamental shifts in strategic thinking that would influence future military development.
The industrial implications of American success established technological development and precision manufacturing as decisive factors in military effectiveness that exceeded traditional military approaches to achieving tactical superiority. The systematic advantages achieved through scientific research had proven more important than conventional military virtues in determining strategic outcomes. Oberfeldwebel Weber, reflecting on his encounters with M26 tanks from his hospital bed, understood that German armor had witnessed a technological revolution that permanently altered the nature of armored warfare. The 90mm Thunder that German tankers had never anticipated had fulfilled its promise through systematic application of American industrial excellence to the ancient problem of defeating enemy armor, proving that in modern warfare, scientific superiority could achieve tactical dominance that traditional military approaches could not counter or overcome.